I would like to welcome Brandon to Core. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's early, but hey, thanks for having me.
I appreciate you getting up and doing this today.
Yeah, definitely.
You've been on the scene for quite a while. For anyone that might not have heard of Strategic, you've been playing now for 20 years or close to 2015 maybe?
Well, just over 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so 10 and a half.
I feel like I've been hearing your name, a lot over the years, which is good.
Yeah, that's good.
Where do you play mostly? What's the furthest you've
Mostly in the
you
Fox
get away?
cities. A lot of the coffee shops and bars and stuff like that, but farmers markets too. Try to get around most of Wisconsin at least. I have done a few tours and stuff.
How did you get into the music scene in the first place? Was it something that you got interested in when you were younger, or was it something in high school, or when did you get the bug?
Yeah, probably in high school actually. I think we had a pretty good scene going on back then. I feel and then I was gone at college, so I was in a band in college. When I came back, we had broken up, so I just went solo, and yeah.
What was the band's name?
The college band was called Remembering Crimson.
Okay. I like hearing some of the names.
Yeah.
What caused the demise of the band?
Just the graduating and people getting married, stuff like that. So it was kind of a natural decline.
How long after the breakup of the band did you start writing solo material?
Well, I had some material kind of in my pocket, so I just kind of worked on it and fleshed it out, and it was probably about a little over a year later that I started playing solo shows, and so I kind of took a year and just worked on stuff.
Was it kind of strange doing the first couple solo shows, being used to like having a band?
Yeah.
Were you vocals in the band?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a little strange. So it was kind of back to my original roots of just sitting in my room, rocking out on the acoustic guitar.
The song we kicked off the show with, now that's got all the instruments. When you're doing your shows, are you doing them acoustic, or do you have a full band?
So yeah, for the live experience, I'm mostly playing acoustic guitar, obviously singing, but what I kind of started doing, I got into live looping about 5 years ago. So the way that I write is I always kind of write with the full band experience in mind. So just trying to relate, those different parts and sounds. So the live looping has really helped me be able to do that. I can, for the most part, I was doing some beatboxing. There was a time when I brought my keyboard with, and I was trying to do that, and so I've dropped the keyboard, but I've done a little more percussive stuff with the guitar, and just a little foot pedal that I have with some percussion stuff. But yeah, just trying to make it a little bit bigger experience than just the acoustic guitar.
Was the looping hard to master, because you've got to be right on, don't you, when you're doing that?
Yeah, so that was kind of another transition that I had to make. I think it really took me probably a year to really get it down and master it.
And how many releases have you put out so far? Because you've got a pretty good body of work out there right now for 10 years.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's been really kind of an interesting experience, because I feel like each release I've worked with somebody else, and so I've got a few EPs and a few full-length releases. I also have a Christmas full-length and a Christmas EP. So I think altogether I probably have about 8 releases.
I saw the Christmas EP. I haven't heard it. So it's, as far as the songs on that, I'm curious, they're all original, right? Are they covers?
There's one original.
One original.
Yeah.
So I've never written a Christmas song. When you're writing a Christmas song, like, how do you go about it? Because when I think of a Christmas song, I think of like the big sound, the bells or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
How did you approach your song? What's it about? Is it about a Christmassy topic?
It's basically, well, it's called Christmas Joy and Hope. It's basically just about how the season, the bigger concept, the bigger theme of Christmas really brings us all together. As far as how do you write a Christmas song, for the two that I've written, it kind of just came naturally. Kind of just felt there was something within the chord or something within the lyric I was thinking in my head that just kind of made it seem Christmassy, or I thought I could do something with it, whether it was add sleigh bells or just just make it a little bit bigger sound. So just let it come naturally.
It feels like it's still kind of the Christmas season.
Yeah, you got the lights down here.
Do you find yourself enjoying shows more in the winter or the summer?
I'd say the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some bands seem to hibernate during the winter, and others seem to hit the road in the winter.
Yeah, I usually take January off from shows. February. Well, last year took February off, and this year too. I'm really excited to get back into it because next week Thursday I'll be down in Madison
at the Ardenne, right?
Right.
Have you been there before?
No, I haven't, and they're actually closing. So I think it'll be either a second to last show or something like that.
So any listeners in the Madison area, you can see Strategic at one of the last shows at the Ardenne.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Which I have been down to that venue a couple times. It's nice. It's big, and it's hopefully something else opens up in there. But that's great that you'll get to play one of the last shows there.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Do you have anything else that's coming up?
As far as live shows, I have Thursday, March 19th, we'll be at Main Street Taps in Stevens Point, and that's the immediate two that are on the radar.
Do you have a favorite festival in this area? Like whether it be Electric City, Mile Music, Life Fest. I mean, we've got so many different things going on in this area. Is there one that draws you? I've played each of them once, so it's really a kind of a different experience. I think the one that really kind of felt different in a way is Steelbridge, actually. Oh, that's a really good one.
So yeah, it just had this feel about it. It just felt like just the camaraderie and.
Can you tell the listeners a little bit about Steelbridge?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what's going on with it now. I know they did something different this last year. Really,
they embrace like the kind of the songwriting, don't they? Like, isn't that the main underlying theme? And like you said, kind of the camaraderie. I'm saying that word wrong. I'm butchering it.
Yeah. So they have the songwriter experience or whatever it's called at the Holiday Music Hotel. Which I haven't been a part of that, but I got to play it for 2 years, and you play like 3 or 4 shows and go check out everybody else. It's really compacted too. It's Mile of Music is kind of spread out, which is good because there's a lot of people. Yeah. But Steelbridge is kind of compacted, and it's just feels like you just walk in and out and just talk to everybody, and it's cool.
Do you make a lot of connections when you play these types of festivals? Or are you more of kind of do your thing and then observe some of the other sets?
Yeah, I meet a lot of people. Both, fans or audience, but and other bands and stuff. So, and I think as a artist, that's one of the biggest aspects of it, is trying to meet as many people and connect with as many people as you can. Find out who's really on your same wavelength as far as styles of music and just concepts or lyrics and songs and stuff like that.
Are there any artists in the area that you seem to play with more than others? Obviously, you've been on the scene for a while, so there's probably some people that were playing when you started that aren't even doing it anymore. But
yeah, that's true. So let's see if I can give a couple of shout outs. Age of Fable, played with them quite a bit. There's a new pop duo called 7,000 Apart. I've played with them a few times. So let's see who else. I have to think a little bit more about it.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Give me a minute. No, I've played with a lot of people, and even different genres. So,
how do you feel about shows that mix the genres? Like when you're putting together a show, do you feel like you have to keep the genres kind of similar, or are you a fan of mixing it up?
It might depend on what it is. Like this last for the Christmas shows that I put together, we had Asumaya from Madison. So he does live looping, but
can you tell me about the Christmas shows? Yeah,
so I did a few of them. I usually do every Christmas season. I do a show at Seth's Coffee, and then a show at Copper Rock. So I tried to do a few more this year because I was releasing a Christmas set of music. So those are the two that I always do, and try to get some openers and just have it be more of a thing to celebrate the season. And so we had Asumaya, which he does live looping as well. He's amazing. Check him out. And then Robbie Schiller from, I can't think of the name of the band right now. I'm blanking. But yeah, so, and then we had Aurelia play the Seth's Coffee show. They are a band, pretty fairly new band. Some friends, they're from Pulaski. And just setting up the shows, just making it, like I said, making it a big deal type situation. But playing, familiar songs that everybody knows and can sing along and have a good time.
What's your take on the scene in this area? Is it a pretty musician friendly scene, or is it cliquey? Like what's your read on it?
So having been around this area my whole life, just seeing it go through like phases and changes, especially over the last 10 years, Mile of Music really boosted the scene, I think. So that's been really good. I don't know if it's cliquey or not. I'm just I think hopefully we're each doing our thing, and there's enough space and enough opportunities to go around. I think, again, going back to the camaraderie, we can all just just kind of support each other, and doing those mixed genre shows. It's I think people are a little bit more open these days to different genres, and even having them, in the same place at the same time.
Do you have a favorite place to play in the Fox Cities?
I have a few. I have a few spots. I always like Spats in the summertime. I like doing the Appleton Market. There's there's a few venues that I've yet to get to that I'm kind of knocking on the door. I'd like to play a few new places.
Any
this year.
names you can give us?
I don't know. I'll have to keep knocking on those doors. But yeah, there's a good slew of regular places that I play. So yeah. So check the Facebook schedule for when the shows will be this summer, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of them.
So being a musician, what's the hardest thing about booking a show? And this is just subjective. This is just, everybody's different with what, they're...
Probably sending out hundreds of emails and only getting, a few responses. So that's probably the hardest thing is email, and then, okay, you'll get one or two back, and email, you get one or two back.
What's your view on social media as far as it's so widely used as a tool now, which a lot of musicians just kind of, they almost depend on just Facebook for advertising. Do you do other things to advertise shows, or are you more or less sticking to social media?
Yeah, obviously social media is used, but yeah, just kind of keeping it old school, I guess, in a way. Making sure you're doing the posters thing and just kind of getting out there, supporting the scene. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get the recognition that you want to, or yeah. But I would say just not to rely fully on social media. Doing stuff like this is hopefully a good way to be involved too.
Do you have a favorite song of yours to play live?
Favorite song to play live? For a while it was Masonry, the first song you played. It was kind of the, I think, yeah, especially it being one of my biggest songs. I usually, for the last 2 or 3 years, that was my show opener song. And so I do it in such a way, and that's kind of the beauty of the live experience too, is being able to do stuff differently, being able to have that be, an experience in itself. And so, yeah, Masonry's been one of my favorites. And a lot of the newer stuff that I'm playing is a little bit more, it's kind of got a different vibe to it. It's so it's been providing me some more, not flexibility, but being able to just stretch creatively a little bit.
Are you going to be kind of going into a different direction on the next releases? Maybe.
I have a couple things that are basically ready to go. One of them's not necessarily a concept album, but I think if there are different styles or genres that I'm toying with, there'll probably be an EP unto itself. So I have some of the more rock songs and then some of the more acoustic songs, and it kind of feels like they're kind of diverging a little bit. So I'm not sure how to incorporate those styles. But one of the ideas I have is to actually I write songs with my daughters, and so I have some kids' songs that are ready to go. So I might try my hand at some children's music.
That'll be great. So you've got 2 daughters.
Yes.
how is it balancing family life with musician life?
It can be difficult at times. Just making sure that you balance your time, I guess. But they like getting into it. They come to my shows and dance, and we're at home. Like I said, we writing songs or whatever. Excuse me. But yeah,
Do you bounce song ideas off of them?
not quite yet.
I think that the kids EP would be awesome.
Yeah, it's an idea.
You mentioned you recorded at Rock Garden, Studio H. Any other studios that you recorded at?
Yep, I went for, let's see here, I think almost every project has been a different place. There was, for the EP Worthwhile, I went up to Interpose Productions, which is in the UP, and Seth Waters worked on that project. He's related to Greg Waters. Local people probably know that name. And let's see here, what do we do?
Cool Waters band.
So just recently, this last year, I worked with Tim Dorsey out at Open Window. He did the Christmas album. He's got a lot of Christmas music of his own, so I knew that he would be a good person to work with on that.
Do you feel that different studios give you a different feel while recording? Because I'm guessing each studio comes with a different engineer and different ideas. Do you have any experiences that you can tell us about which makes each place unique, or a reason why somebody listening that records might want to go to each of these places?
Yeah, I've tried to think about each project on its own, like what's it going to be, kind of figure out and feel out who's the best stylistically, and just working with Mark at Rock Garden. He's amazing, obviously. Gives you a good rock sound, kind of that, some of that classic feel to what he's doing is amazing. And with Motivation, working with Tony, he kind of is on that pop punk kind of side of things, so that was kind of where that album was heading for the most part. So yeah, that was good working with him. And then, like I said, Tim with the Christmas stuff, just kind of figuring out who's good at what, and good fits. And then as far as different feels, I think there's definitely Rock Garden has a lot of space, and it's just the setup is really great. But yeah, being able to kind of, I think you said something about, is it hard or difficult when you're in there to
take an idea and put it down?
Yeah. So again, having the idea, or allowing the person that you're working with to kind of speak into it or help it along. Yeah. So just, I feel like I've for each project I've found a good match. And right now, I've got some stuff ready. I'm kind of trying to figure out what's going to be next. So I'm trying to figure out where to record next.
Have you ever been into recording yourself? Have you ever dabbled with that? I'm not good at it. But some people are.
Yeah.
I don't know what your history with that is.
Yeah, I've got my home studio with Pro Tools. It's the one that I've used for basically since I self-released my first EP. And back then I thought, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to record all my own stuff and put it out as often as I can. But then I realized that I couldn't make it what I wanted it to be. So to answer that, yes, I've dabbled. I brought a couple of mixes to Mark at Rock Garden, and he said they were decent. So, but I allowed him to remix and remaster those. So I think I can get it to a certain point, but wanting it to be the best, and I guess almost a perfectionist side of me, letting somebody else make it bigger and better.
So you're a perfectionist.
I don't know. Maybe.
Do you find that hurts you as far as getting the project complete? Do you keep going back and changing things on a typical recording, or do you get it done and let it be? Because I'm sure if you're like recording, adding some stuff that wasn't there before, when you're recording it, you probably step away for a little bit, listen to it, and then maybe the new parts maybe trigger something else and a different idea in your head, and you're like, maybe this would complement this that wasn't there before.
Yeah, that is hard. I don't know. One of the things that I think it was Mark that said this was, the song will let you know what it needs and what it doesn't need, and like, if you listen back to just that first acoustic take, and it sounds good, with the vocals, or just that, then that's good. Then like leave it, or just add one little extra thing to make it interesting or shine. So that has been hard, but I'm trying to do that a little bit more. And that was that was kind of an interesting thing too, with thinking about the Moving Pieces album that I put out last year. I just kind of reworked some of my older material, and I did an acoustic version, a piano version, a string version, different songs. So
it's kind of an interesting concept to do it that way.
That happened pretty naturally, which was good. And I think part of it was I was playing these songs differently live. So a lot of people, kind of became familiar with the acoustic version of that specific song or whatever. But I had this song called Past Behind Future Ahead, and I knew that what I wanted to do with it was kind of make it feel like it was pulled out of the 80s, but also have a modern feel to it. And so that was a really fun track to make. Yeah, so I actually found this guy online, and he did the remix of it.
So he added all that stuff on it?
Specializes in the retro wave. I sent him all the stems, and he just did magic.
That could be like in an 80s movie. Like it really could.
Awesome.
Have you thought about doing a video for that song?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be working on it this spring.
Awesome.
We've got the concept down, so look for that. Hopefully by May we can release it.
It seems like you could have a lot of fun doing a video for that song.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And then, are you going to be shooting it yourself or going through somebody in the air right now, I suppose?
Well, I have this guy I work with. His name is Casey. I know he's been out there doing his thing, trying to get a lot of connections. He used to go by Northern Mantle, but he goes by Fuchsia now. And so check him out. He's doing some good stuff. He's helped me quite a bit.
Do you have a lot of video content out there right now that people can check out?
I do have some, not as much as I want. I kind of how I think about things is, okay, this is going to sound weird, but I have a video concept for like 90% of my songs. But they're never going to all get created, obviously. Most people do like one or two per project. So, yeah, I would love to be able to put out more content in that way, because I have the ideas. They're there. Just
time and
money.
I'm looking really forward to that 80s video.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited about that. And plus, you teased this possible kids EP now, which I'm going to hold you to it.
Okay. All right. Well, it probably won't be till next year.
Okay. That's a lot
At
of
least
waiting.
a year. At least.
Is there a strategic album, if somebody's never listened to you before or heard of you, that, they're going to go listen to one of the albums for the first time? Is there one that you would suggest that they go to first?
Yes. Yes. Choices We Make was really a turning point for me. And the thing was, it took so long to get to that point. And then a lot of people did ask me, like, after I released Motivation, like, oh, this is different, this is like kind of a different side of you. It was still there. I think a lot of the production was, well, like we talked about, it's more of a pop punk leaning album, whereas Choices We Make leans more towards a straight rock type of feel. But Choices We Make was really, it was really just, it was a high point for sure. Like I said, Masonry was a standout song, and Can't Go On was another one that I was doing live that took a while to get recorded. So yeah, it was a lot of the learning process too, of how to create a full-length album in the studio. Before I was just doing EPs. So yeah, that'd be the one I would say. Go check it out.
What are your biggest influences, music-wise? Like, is there any mainstream artists that you really like? Any that you really liked growing up that still influence you?
Yeah. So there's a few bands. There's a few. Sorry, what was the word you said? Inspired me?
Inspired or influenced your style?
What I typically, there's like my top 5 that I tend to say is Switchfoot, The Rocket Summer, Reliant K. Those are the ones I have listed on like all my sites as influences. And there too, you can hear in those bands, there's more just regular rock stuff. There's pop punk kind of stuff. There's another band called Mute Math, which is more experimental. But and then there's another band called May, M-A-E. They've been a big influence on me too.
When you were growing up, did you watch a lot of MTV or any? No,
not really.
Were you buying a lot of music growing up?
Yeah. It's a lot of CDs. It's been.
Do you think the CD format will ever become popular again? I know cassettes, sometimes you read a story that they're coming back, and then it's like, well, I don't really see that they're coming back. It's like got to be a really small pocket of people.
Yeah, I don't know. What I was gonna say is it's been interesting to see the changes, especially for people our age. I'm not gonna say how old I am or how young I am. They don't even, like, my new computer doesn't have a CD player in it. It doesn't have a spot for it. And I know people have told me a lot of new cars don't have CD players. So, I don't know.
Is it
Probably not, I guess.
did you even pay to make CDs anymore as an artist? Or do you sell a lot of CDs?
That is an interesting question. Is it still worth it to make them? Do people buy them? I don't want to say no to either of those, but I guess I'd be leaning towards no.
It's tough because it's even like digital format. I mean, you almost have to want to support the band. Like, you're pretty much giving a donation to support the band because
Right.
I can buy the digital album, or, pretty much it seems like 70% of everything is on Spotify or a streaming
Mhm.
service. We're in some tough times, my friend.
Yeah, well, I've heard it said that like your music is your marketing,
Mm-hmm.
basically. So, a lot of people are doing support platforms, and I've thought about doing that, like a Patreon or something. Yeah, like you said, it's tough times to make a go of it.
Have you had any success as far as like selling shirts or anything like that compared to physical CDs?
If people are interested, I usually try to.
How
Like,
crazy do you get with merchandise?
Well, I'd like it to be more or bigger and better than what it is, but if somebody's interested in something, I usually try to like upsell or try to, like, hey, if you want a shirt, I'll throw in a CD or stuff like that. So, yeah, if somebody really is interested, they'll either just throw money in the tip jar, or they'll kind of be like, oh, $15 for a shirt. What if I throw a CD in? Okay, sure.
And then they go spend 20 at the bar.
Right?
Yeah. I wondered if you had a favorite show that you played live. If there's one show that stands out as being like the current peak.
Good question.
You said you had.
There's been a few. Let's see. Oh man, I'm racking my brain. I mean, I've really enjoyed some of the festivals.
How's your mile of music set?
Good. I've wanted to play Mile more than I have, so I won't get into that. But I've done a couple of good shows, like the Cup of Joy had like 200 people. Festivals tend to have a lot of people too, so. But yeah, for me, I guess it's more about like making those connections, finding the right audience, and like I said too, I'm kind of limited in how crazy I can be on stage, or types of things I can really do to make it all sound good. But yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy playing. I've enjoyed doing even smaller things, like just bonfire type show, house shows.
You're okay with people like videotaping and recording shows?
In general?
Yeah.
Or
if your
or just
shows.
me.
Some people don't like it.
Sure, I guess. I mean, there's not much way to stop people anymore. Feels like everybody's always recording everything.
Do you ever run into a situation where somebody posted a photo you didn't like of you performing?
I was just thinking about this the other day. I was talking to my wife because, the picture that you used for today, I was like, oh, he picked that picture. And like people used to pick like the weirdest pictures to promote the gigs, and I was like, oh, why'd they use that picture? That's not my promo photo. They went on my social media and grabbed some random picture.
That's exactly what I did.
I was like, oh wait, what about this better one?
That looked pretty rad. So I grabbed that one.
Yeah. That's all right.
When you see photos that are put up that you don't like, do you ever reach out or do you untag yourself? Because really, as an artist, you're kind of, in a way, controlling your image too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've probably untagged myself from a few weird ones, but yeah, I mean, you definitely want to control that as much as you can. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, seems like it's kind of a free-for-all.
Yeah, it's a wild
in
west.
a way. So just making sure when you're presenting yourself, social media is the hard one. You can control your website and I don't know, different, things you're putting out like your merch or your posters or whatever. But yeah, making sure that you're staying consistent with your content and staying true to yourself always.
Where can people go to find out more about Strategic? Oh, before we do that though.
Yeah.
Where did the name come from?
Oh, yes. I always get this one. So when I went solo from the band after college, I had probably a list of 50 names. And it just kind of stuck out to me. Like, I looked up the word. What it meant was a well thought out plan or purpose. And so I kind of felt like everything that was happening was for a purpose. The fact of just going solo and kind of into this unknown, like, what is this even going to be? But I felt good about it, and I felt like, there was a reason the band split up, and, I kind of had this feeling of just trying it out on my own. Yeah, that's what I try to communicate to people. Everything happens for a reason. So I know it's cliche, but there's a purpose.
Screaming upstairs. Okay, so
purpose for that too.
So where can people go to check out more on Strategic?
I would say Facebook is probably the biggest one. I've always been on there. It's the one I update the most, and it's just Facebook/Strategic Rock. Bandcamp, I've put all my releases on Bandcamp, and obviously, all the music buying platforms like iTunes, Amazon, Spotify. Spotify's been the biggest one lately, I think. People have kind of flocked there. Stream on Spotify.
All right.
Where else? Can you think of any more that I forgot?
You're on Reverb Nation too, I believe.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of going the way of MySpace.
I think you're right. I know that. I know a couple people that still kind of cruise that for new music, but it's not updated very often. Mm-hmm. I don't think your Reverb Nation page has been updated. I should check.
Oh.
I'll do that after the show.
Actually, I did just update it.
So you can go check out some stuff there too. But Facebook seems to be the one to go to for the most current information.
Yeah.
This is Strategic. I want to thank you for joining us on Core.
Yeah.
Welcome
Thanks
back.
for having me.